Hello everyone, my name is Michael O'Brien and I'd like to thank you again so much for watching this video. Today we're going to be talking about how to deal with hecklers. But before we get into how to deal with them, let's talk about what a heckler is exactly. Now there are probably hundreds of different ways to describe hecklers because heckling is not a single, there's no single type of heckler. Heckling is sort of a spectrum. You have people that are very innocent when they heckle and they just think that they're being funny. You have people that their whole purpose in life is to completely ruin your show. It honestly depends on the person and on the situation. But in this video, just to keep it short, I'm going to talk about 3 of the most common hecklers that you might run into during any of your shows. Number 1, we have the show stealer. Now the show stealer, their whole job is literally to shut down your show. They're going to do everything that they can to take all of the attention away from you and bring it on to themselves. Sometimes the show stealer is jealous that they couldn't figure out what you're doing, or maybe they just want to look cool in front of their friends. Oftentimes you will find that dealing with the show stealer is one of the most difficult types of hecklers that you can actually deal with. But before we talk about how you can shut them down, let's talk about another different type of heckler. I like to call the skeptic. Now the skeptic isn't quite as bad as the show stealer. However, the skeptic is going to tend to interrupt you a little bit. Oftentimes, the skeptic is the person that says, "Whoa, wait, hold on a minute. Can I shuffle the cards? Whoa, hold on a minute. Is that 1 card or 2 cards? Oh, hold on a minute. Is that a regular deck? Hold on a minute. Before you put your card in, can I double check it to make sure that it's mine?" Now, the skeptic, they might honestly just not really believe that magic is real. And so they want to try to test you under impossible conditions to really prove yourself that what you're doing is legitimate. And so oftentimes you'll notice the skeptic is the one that's going to stop you and ask you to kind of prove yourself as you're going through the whole routine. Now the third and final one that I'm going to talk about, again just to keep this video short, is the curious one. Now the curious one is a little bit more, they're kinder than the skeptic, I guess you can say. And the reason for this is usually because the curious one isn't heckling you intentionally. They're the ones that you might hand them a card, just switch out a card real quick, you hand them a card, they're supposed to think it's theirs, but it's actually a different one. And then you say, "Here, go ahead and put it anywhere in the deck," and before they do, they look at it, right? They didn't do that intentionally to ruin your show, but they were genuinely curious. They wanted to make sure that it was their card before they put it back in the deck. Right now, the curious one, like I said, they aren't going to intentionally try to ruin your show. So in order to deal with someone that might just be curious and might not know exactly what's going on, your best bet is just to work on your audience management. Make sure that it's impossible for them to accidentally ruin the effect. Make sure that your moves are clean. Like for example, if there's a certain move where you have to do a double lift and then you put the card in the middle, the curious one might be like, "Wait, did you really put my card in, or it looked like the second card? Are you sure that was the first one?" Now again, they're not trying to intentionally ruin your show. They're genuinely curious because they might have caught something, or maybe their curiosity just got the better of them. But the curious one is pretty easy to deal with if you have very good audience management skills. Alright, so now the part that you've been waiting for. How to deal with these boneheads, right? These people that just want to completely shut you down. Or maybe some people are skeptical and they just try to stop you at every turn to make sure that you're proving yourself as a real magician. Let's talk about 6 different ways that you can shut hecklers down. Now again, this isn't a be-all end-all list. Like I said, heckling is sort of a spectrum. You're going to have different sorts of situations, different people, different performers, different environments. It all depends on the environment. It also depends on the situation that, or the thing that works best for you, depending on the situation. So I'm going to go ahead and list off the 6 that I like to use. And then if you have any ideas or anything that you'd like to add to this list, please feel free to go ahead and leave a comment below. Let us know maybe different ways that you deal with hecklers or different things that you have noticed work for your own personality. And then that way we can all share and we can all learn together some things in addition to the things that we have here in this video. Alright, so number 1. This one is probably the biggest one that I usually tell people, and people actually give me this look on their face like they can't believe it. But coming in at number 1, we have do not create hecklers. What? What do you mean create hecklers? I thought hecklers were, just these rude people that wanted to ruin your show. True, sometimes. But a lot of the time, I see magicians doing certain things that almost encourage heckling. Like, they'll say, "Oh, sir, go ahead and hold out your hand." "Oh, nope, not that one, the clean one." "Oh, that must have been the dirty one." "Oh, okay, let's do that." And then people start to feel picked on and, "Hey, sir, was that your card?" "No." "Oh, you didn't remember it? Don't worry, shapes and colors tomorrow." Stuff like that is going to really get people to not like you. And then when it comes time for your big finale and you're going to reveal the card, and then you're going to look at them like they're supposed to be excited about it, they're probably not going to be. In fact, the reception that you might get might even be one of, they might try to ruin your show just because you made them look like a fool in front of all of their friends, right? My personality is one that is very polite, very kind. I have a very likable character when I'm performing. I like to bring my audience along with me on this magical journey. And, "Hey, so would you like to try something with me? We're going to do something together." Rather than, "Hey, look what I can do. I bet you can't figure it out." Right? Because that sort of mentality will definitely create hecklers when they're least expected. All right, so let's just say you're being heckled. What's another thing you can do? Number 2, ignore them. Honestly, a lot of times hecklers will just make a one-off comment. Like, "Oh, I saw 2 cards," or whatever, something like that, right? Sometimes the best thing you can do is just to ignore them. They might have just said that one comment and no one probably even heard it. Or if they did hear it, they might not even know what they're talking about. And you just move on through the routine, you keep your performance going, and you keep strong, and they will completely forget about that comment or whatever that particular person said. One of the worst things you can do is start engaging with someone right away. Because now you're giving them the floor, and that's the last thing you want to do is give them any kind of attention or anything like that. Just ignore them, let them say their thing, and just keep on keeping on with your show. And usually you'll notice that they just keep quiet. Now, let's just say you try that, and they keep saying things, and ignoring them isn't working. Another thing that you can do, thing number 3, get them involved. Get them involved directly in what you're doing. For example, let's just say I'm doing a card trick, right? And someone tries to say something and they're trying to be funny, and I'm going through my routine and they just keep talking. I go, "Hi, sir, what is your name? You want to come and help me with one?" And what this does is this gives them what they wanted, which is the spotlight, right? But what this also does is kind of forces them to be put on the spot, and so they might not be able to think as quickly on their feet while you're doing certain moves and stuff like that. They might be a little bit distracted because now they're focusing on other people and that they're watching them. And getting them involved gives them a reason to really feel important. And if you succeed, they succeed. So, when they pick out the card and then you have them do the move and then the card works and it's in their hands, usually the response that you get is one of like, "Whoa, dude, that was pretty legit. How the heck did you do that?" And then what you end up doing is you end up turning that heckler into one of your biggest fans. In fact, at least every so often I will encounter some sort of heckler at one of my events, and usually that person ends up being the guy that asks for my business card and wants to check out all my videos and stuff at the end because they really had a good time. And yeah, they were heckling me and they were being funny, but what I did was I kind of gave them a little bit of the spotlight. I shared the spotlight with them, made them the star of the show just for a little bit. They're happy, they're satisfied, they're not going to heckle you anymore, and then you bring it all back in, and now you get your show back. So that's another way to do it. Now let's just say you get them involved, but for some reason they just will not stop heckling you. You have them involved and they're still being a jerk. You can politely ask them to stop. Now, the way that I would do that is something like this. "Sir, I know you're having a good time. Thank you so much. But all of these people do want to see the magic trick. If you don't mind, can we continue through? We'll let everyone enjoy it. And then if you have any questions, maybe after the show we can talk. Or I'll be more than happy to show you more. And maybe I can even teach you a trick or something that you can show your friends." right? Something like that. You very, very politely ask them, basically, to stop heckling you because you're trying to put on a show for other people and they're trying to enjoy it. And that particular person is preventing that from happening. Oftentimes, the heckler doesn't realize that they're being rude. They think that they're being funny. So if you let them know, like, hey, dude, you're cool, but you're being a little too much right now. You need to chill. They will realize that they've overstepped their boundaries, and then they'll kind of take a step back. Another thing that you can do, I try to leave this as sort of a last resort, but let's just say you've asked them politely to stop. They continue to heckle you, and you don't see like there's any other thing that you can do to get them to stop. Then you threaten to end the show, or you stop performing. Now, like I said, I like to use this as a last resort because you don't want to ruin it for everyone else. But let's just say they just will not stop heckling you. You're going to say, okay, sir, you know what? I'm sorry. I can't continue the show anymore. You know, turn to the people and say, you know, I really hope that you're having a good time. I hope that you're enjoying this. Are you having fun? Usually they'll say yes. And then you say, I'll be happy to continue, but I can't with this person here because they're making it very hard for me to entertain you, and they're making it very hard for you to focus on the magic because now you're all just watching him and you're missing my show. All right, I'll be happy to continue once this gentleman leaves. Now what that does is that creates sort of an us versus them sort of little thing going on between the two groups, and oftentimes the audience will end up turning on that guy, and then that guy will end up just leaving, either because he's embarrassed, or let's just say he's not embarrassed, let's just say he thinks he won. He's going to leave anyway because there's nothing else to do. He can't heckle a guy that's just standing there, right? And so he knows that once the magician stops, I took all of his fuel away. So he can just walk away, and then I can continue on with my show. So it's pretty easy. All right, last but not least, I'm going to put a little disclaimer on this one. You should not do this last one if you're at a paid gig. I personally wouldn't suggest doing it at a paid gig because it can come off very rude, and you don't want a bad review or anything like that, and you don't want your clients to be asking for money back because you told off their customers or whatever. And also, I would suggest not doing it unless you're very quick-witted or you've prepared something for this particular situation. But coming in at number 6, one of the things you can do is destroy them at their own game. Now, there's 2 ways that you can do this. Gazzo has a really good book out there called Read Between the Lines, which basically comes up with a bunch of witty one-liners that you can use to try to throw them off balance. You know, it's going to make you sound like you're very quick on your feet, and you can engage back and forth with them. But basically, the goal is to outsmart them, come up with funnier things that to say than they can say to you. And then that's going to get them to kind of retreat because they realize, like, oh, I can't mess with this guy. This guy's too quick. You know, he's making me look stupid. And then they'll shut up. All right? That's one way you can do it. Another way you can do it is by destroying them with your magic. Now, Brian Tudor has a really cool effect on the market. It's actually called Heckler, and it is a routine that is specifically designed to be one step ahead from a particular spectator and to basically make them look stupid. Like I said, this routine is specifically made for hecklers so that if they're ruining your show, you get them involved and you perform this routine for them. It will completely shut them down. So, Read Between the Lines by Gazzo if you want to think of some really quick, fun things that you can say in response to anything that the heckler has to say. Or number 2, take a look at Heckler by Brian Tudor, which is a really cool effect that allows you to really take back control of your performance, and in the process it makes the heckler look like a fool. Again, my name is Michael O'Brien. I hope you guys had a really, really, really good time. If you did like this video, again, please be sure to go ahead and leave a comment below. Maybe if you have any fun ideas that you can share with us about different ways that you like to deal with hecklers, or if you have any more questions and things that I need to go a little bit more in detail, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. If you did like this video and you want to see more videos like it, I highly suggest you go ahead and subscribe to this channel. That way you can stay current on any updates and future videos. Again, my name is Michael O'Brien. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you all again next week with another awesome advice and tips segment for magicians. Have a good one, everyone.